we are going to check out all the right news incident reports we got here, and then we gotta write another, apparently a Christian genocide. And here's your genocide over in fucking Nigeria, right? South Africa.
In California,
People want to
North
talk
Carolina,
about
New York,
the
Massachusetts,
the
Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Georgia,
Israeli-Palestine
Virginia,
genocide. Let's
Texas,
talk
and
about a
Nevada.
different kind of genocide.
26 of the people that were arrested
Honestly,
were
the
married.
Israeli-Palestine one is
18 was the youngest
it's not even a
person we
genocide.
arrested. 67 was the oldest one. We also had people on government assistance. Now, I have to point them out. You know, our CFO is really interested in waste. Well, think about it. You, the hardworking people, were out making money, earning money, paying taxes, and they were being paid to violate the law. And I imagine there were more of them, but this is the ones we identified. Of course, we arrested 9 that had a military background. 1 was active Army, 5 previous Army in addition to the 1, 2 Air Force, 1 Navy, 1 National Guard. 15 firearms were brought to the operation by different suspects. One of the 15 firearms was stolen, and we recovered it. Of course, what would an operation be if we didn't arrest theme park employees? We had 2 from Universal arrested and 2 from Disney arrested. 32 people were charged with drug possession. 3 individuals had active warrants. 16 individuals had prior prostitution charges. And 7 of those were from previous operations we've done. They showed up again. They like us so much. They like the jail so much. They wanted to come go to jail again with us. 2 of them were from the Fool Around and Find Out that we had just a few months ago.
Oh my God!
2 of them came back for a second
Sheriff
check.
fucking
Well,
Grady
you know
Judd is so
good and
good.
well that they got 2 brain cells, okay? And they used 1 on the first one and 1 on the second. They have 0 brain cells left now. March Sadness, 2 came back that we arrested in that operation. Operation Traffic Stop in 2023, we got 1 of those back. In Operation Fall Haul in 2022, I guess they have a short memory. We have those back. Now, some people would say, oh, they're not such bad people. Well, these folks had a total of 706 previous charges, 317 felonies, 389 misdemeanors. And we lodged against these folks new charges, 371 new charges. So let's go through really, really quick. I always want to start with our child sex predators. These are the nastiest of the nastiest. This is Trey Taunton. He's 40 years of age. He lives in Mineola in Central Florida. He's a psychological therapist, and he worked for family life counselors in Lake County. Now, let me tell you what makes him so scary. His job was to counsel at-risk children.
There you have it. And so, a Fool Around to Find Out again. Several got taxpayer assistance. 246 arrested. Wood chipper, yeah. I mean, they need more than the wood chipper, to be honest. Anyways, there you have it. And then we have this incident. Well, viewer discretion is advised. It's going to be a little brutal.
Welcome back into the Fox Local Live Desk. You are taking a look at some of the injuries. If you were watching along with us earlier this week, Fox 13's David Rose brought this story to us where we were learning about this trans woman down in Renton who just got beat. And there was a number of teenagers involved in this attack. In the big update that he just brought to us, we now have another suspect. This is an image that was released a short time ago by police there. I just want to read from some of the updates that they sent out to us. They write, these pictures clearly depict the suspect with distinctive facial hair, a unique necklace, and a black jacket with a red stripe on the sleeves. The suspect also appears to wear red suspenders hanging from the waist. So we know there were 2 previous arrests in this case, and now we have these 2 images of an individual that was also linked to this attack by police down there in Renton. So what I want to do is bring in Fox 13's David Rose. He's joining me here at the live desk. So a lot happening with this case, and I know this one touched a nerve with folks just because of how badly this woman was beaten.
Yeah, just to bring people up to speed in case they missed it, this woman, Nikki Armstrong, was just out for a walk. She lives not far from the Renton Transit Center, and she was heading down to a little sports pub near there, and she saw some teens, a big group of them, harassing a security guard and just other people, just, you know, creating all kind of chaos. She goes, don't you guys have anything better to do? She continued on to the store, and to the pub, pardon me, played some games, had a drink, had some dinner. She came back, they were still there, and they started yelling homophobic slurs at her. There, get her, get her. She ran and she tripped, and they were on her. And there were a bunch of them around. Police say 4 suspects are on video, brutally beating her. 1 suspect has her in a chokehold. The others are pounding and kicking in her face and her head. Broke her eye socket, broke her nose. Renton police responded quickly. They got good witnesses. They arrested 2 of the suspects, 2 brothers, 15 and 17 years old, who go to Renton High School.
Yeah,
they are close to arresting the 3rd suspect as we're speaking
like
right
aggravated
now. They know who he is.
assault
They've made
or
arrangements
battery
for
or
surrender.
whatever.
They do not know who the 4th suspect, though, is. And as you know, in our state, law enforcement is not allowed to question juveniles. Anybody who's under 18 is not allowed to be questioned by police without a lawyer present. So they need the public's help to identify them. And as you know, it's really sensitive in this state
might
about
be a
juvenile justice.
Uh-oh.
Do we show them? Do we not show them? And it's because of ethical reasons and their age, we generally don't show juveniles. But there are times when the crime is serious enough and the police put it out. They want the help because at this point, one suspect, 17, we don't know if this guy's 18, we don't know if he's 20, if he's 21, he doesn't go to Renton High School. We don't know who he is. So when you really don't know the age at that point, you can't say they're a juvenile. So that's why we're going ahead and releasing this, and that's why Renton police are hoping somebody will come forward.
So he's not a juvenile.
Contact sbarfield at rentonwa.gov with a tip. Of course, we're going to be doing this all
there
day.
was some juveniles there and non-juveniles.
The detective on this case, Matt, Detective Barfield, has been worked nonstop for the last 48 hours to find enough video that shows that this is a hate crime, because the prosecutor was not going to charge it as a hate crime because the victim herself said, I think they just attacked me because they didn't like me, not because it was a hate crime. Police disagree, and they found videos that show them using all kinds of slurs and things that will prove that it is a hate crime.
They're using the slurs. They're using them.
And recommend hate crime charges. We'll follow
can't
up
say
with the
they're
Kentucky
using
prosecutor's office to see if that
gamer
makes a difference,
words.
because the other 2
They're
teams were
using
arrested
street
are
slang,
on electronic home monitoring.
which is way
I
worse.
want to get on that for a second, but before we get to what happened to the other 2 teens, because I know this is going to cause some controversy for folks in our area.
Because when it's street slang, they then assault you after.
But the injuries here, because I know you described this to some of our viewers that watched this a few days
At
ago.
least when it's
but
gamer
those who may be hearing
slang
about this for the
or
first time, I mean,
gamer
this was a brutal
words,
attack. Surgery
right?
required, correct?
She's
It's
got
just
pending
some
surgeries to repair
brain
the broken eye
rot
socket
person
and the broken nose.
being
I don't know if
unhinged.
they'll be able to do the surgeries individually, or they'll be able to do it all at once. I did chat with her and made sure that she was doing okay today, and she's getting some help. She has some friends that took with the police. They've given her all the information for the Crime Victims Compensation Fund. So that fund will help victims with some money. It's not a ton of money, but with some money. And then her GoFundMe, last time I checked, was up over $17,000, which will allow her to heal. It's not just the physical trauma. You know, it's where's she ever going to feel safe again? This happened right in her neighborhood as she's walking down the street. So she's going to need some time to recover, and that money's going to help her, give her a little bit of breathing room.
And so I want to show our viewers once again, this is that image that we just got in moments before we jumped on air. This is going to be the 4th suspect. You mentioned, if our viewers didn't catch that, a 3rd suspect. There is arrangements for that individual to turn themselves in. But while we look at this image that investigators are hoping someone out there can ID this individual, I want to hear a little bit more. The other 2 suspects arrested, detained, but since then released, correct?
Yeah, you know, I struggle with this because I see both sides of it, but I don't understand it because they were arrested right there at the scene. When they went before Judge Veronica Galvin, she has a history of being very lenient with defendants. She doesn't think any kids should be in jail. And, you know, a lot of crimes, that's true. But when a violent crime like this happens, why not hold
Wait,
the kid
where
for
was
3
this?
days
Oh,
until the
it's
prosecutor gets the full
Seattle?
case,
Oh,
'cause they're
no,
getting
it's
more
a
information every
fucking
day
liberal judge,
from
dude.
police. And then at that point, you can make a decision whether to
Oh,
release them on
fucking
electronic
hell,
monitoring or to keep
They-
them in
they
custody.
beat
In
up
our
a
state, there's no
woman.
bail system for juveniles. You're either
By the
released
way,
or you're kept in
right,
custody.
4
She released
people
them right
beat
away
up a woman.
with the stipulation they couldn't do
4
pro-social
unhinged
activities.
kids.
So what the heck is that, right? Well, 2 of them said that they play football. They want to go back and play football. Well, the schools, the Renton schools, have suspended them immediately. I checked again today because I heard that might have been rescinded. It's
they're
not. They're
unhinged
still
kids.
suspended for at least 10 days while this investigation unfolds. They're not going to be playing football. They're not going to be doing anything. And I'll tell you this, Matt, they were hardly showing up to school anyway, right? So That's a whole different side of the story. So where are their parents? Where are their families? Why are they just hanging
Oh,
out
they
at
are.
the
They
Brennan
already
site
have
and
a
causing this chaos? Those are
almost a
questions for down the road.
history.
Right now, they need to get this guy. Can I tell you this guy's not going to stay in custody? No. But once we get him identified, at least the judicial
So
process can
they
proceed.
already have a criminal history.
Fox 13's David
possibly?
Rose, I know you've been on top of this one and helping connect our viewers with the story of this woman who, wow, I mean, you're right, it's going to be some time. Just looking at these images that we see on our screen here, you're talking surgeries, you're talking downtime, and then, yes, the emotional trauma. I can't even imagine it, David.
Yeah, it's just it's heartbreaking, but she's hanging in there, and we'll keep you posted on that. And I want to commend our viewers. They have stepped up and donated to her GoFundMe. If you go to our website and you just type in Rinse and Attack or Transit Attack or Nikki Armstrong, that will come up. It has a link to her GoFundMe. And so go to Fox 13.
Oh, there you have it. They have a GoFundMe if you want to check it out.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, man.
We appreciate it. And while David and I work behind the scenes to kind of wrap things up here on this particular story, I'll just share with you one more time. This is that fourth suspect that they still have not identified. So the hope is that somebody out there may recognize this individual. Renton detectives noting that there is a distinctive facial hair, a unique necklace, and a black jacket with a red stripe on the sleeve. The suspect also appears to wear red suspenders hanging from the waist. Now remember, this was something that happened just a few days ago, so there's still a lot of information here. And also, I should mention, they write here that you can submit an anonymous tip via Crime Stoppers, and that could be eligible for a reward as well. So obviously this is a story that we'll be paying more attention to in the coming days, and as David mentioned, we'll be working on this as a newsroom and hopefully have some more information. But if you just saw those images and you were as shocked as many of us probably were of the injuries to Nikki, you can always check out our web story, fox13seattle.com, if you want to find more information about that GoFundMe and try to help out or just share it for other people in the community so they know what just happened there.
All right. Is this the full one? We can watch the full one.
These were related to the Travis Decker case, and this can be regards to the murder of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. Again, we have not.
Sorry, let me
These were
replay that.
pre-planned operations for a fourth search related to the Travis Decker case, and this can be regards to the murder of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. Again, we have not lost sight of what we're focused on doing, and that's bringing justice to those three girls. We are close to justice being served and law prevailing. During our search yesterday around 15:30 hours, that'd be 3:30 p.m., our search teams did locate an anomaly that was seen in AI imaging from our drones. In closer inspection, when we got that, we did see that it was potentially a shirt. We were able to get units on the ground that did confirm that the shirt was consistent with what we had seen in previous surveillance photos with Travis Decker. So I am confirming the shirt that we saw on scene is a match for what Travis was last seen wearing, in addition to shorts, which were U.S. Rangers shorts. They were also a match, and also personal items to include chewing tobacco that was consistent with what he had chewed, a bracelet, which is consistent with what we'd seen in photos of him wearing. So collecting those items, we've since sent them off to the Washington State Patrol's crime lab. We're hopeful that we'll get those results back soon. I appreciate Chief John Batiste and the Washington State Patrol for continuing to be a constant ally for us. Even in my call this morning, I asked if he could expedite it. I understand the Chelan County Sheriff's Office is not the only agency within Washington State investigating a homicide and looking for quick results back from the DNA test. So Chief Batiste, Washington State Patrol, we appreciate it. We understand there are a lot of pressure. Going through the processing of the decomposition that we found amongst that clothing has been challenging for the State Patrol's crime lab. That we're able to get DNA off that sample, and they're comparing it to the DNA samples that we have in place for Travis Decker. I have asked them to take their time, not rush this. This has been a thorough investigation up to this point. We don't want any mistakes made. Our investigative team has continued to be out on the ground today with Washington State Patrol's crime lab team. We've also had members of the FBI's crime lab team out here assisting us. We've found additional body parts today to include 2 feet, some femurs, and also some vertebrae. We've requested that these items also be sent off to Washington State Patrol's crime lab for additional testing to be compared. Again, we do not want to rush this process. We'd like to have DNA results this evening, but I understand in the interest of justice, to ensure this case is handled properly, we have asked them to stand by, test more samples, and we hope to get those in the next couple of days. We're appreciative for our federal partners that have continued to be biased throughout this process. We recognize that we're trying to bring closure to this community, and more importantly, we're trying to bring pressure to our allies to come and give us more assistance where needed, but we do appreciate the fact that Whitney and her family have been very cooperative with us, and we're trying to bring them peace of mind and closure for this. We think we're one step closer. As soon as we get the results back, we are optimistic that these results will confirm that we have located Mr. Decker, but until that time, we're going to stand by and wait for the 100% confirmation. For the meantime, I'm going to bring up the representative from the U.S. Marshals, who have been our ally since day one, assisting us, leading the search effort, and I'll go ahead and let him take questions.
Hi, my name is Gavin Duffy. I'm the Chief Deputy United States Marshal in the Eastern District of Washington.
You guys have been on site, you've been part of this for months now, 3.5 months. You've pretty much been working hand in hand with Chelan. Can you explain why it took so long to be able to find this specific spot? It's less than a mile from where that campground is.
I mean, I think if we look behind us into the backdrop here, the terrain is extremely complex, some of which would, is hard to find anywhere in this country, and that's kind of what we found. I mean, it's incredibly steep, it's incredibly rocky, and that's why we have some of the experts, our Special Operations Group and our partners with Border Patrols, Border Star, and Border TAC, who are all three experts in this terrain to do it. And I think we're pretty proud of the fact, using all the resources we could across the law enforcement, public safety spectrum, to really drill down and find these remains, which we're very, very hopeful and fairly confident.
Can you tell me a little bit about what it was like whenever whoever the teams were that initially went up there? They were those people that ended up identifying that shirt, seeing those pants. That was that moment. You guys thought, oh, I think we got him. Can you explain a little bit about what that feels like for you?
I think it's the 1 yard line. I mean, we want to get across the goal line with the DNA, but we're pretty, it's a good feeling. We put a lot of work. I mean, hundreds of people in law enforcement and other career fields have touched this case because of its importance to the Chelan and to the state. So to get to that 1 yard line where we are right now, maybe even a little closer, it felt pretty good for everybody working this case in any way.
There were some people online that were curious if Travis Decker would have gone north to Canada or south to Mexico. What do you say to people who were curious about him ever going that far, in your expert opinion?
Well, I mean, we appreciate the curiosity, right? I mean, we're in the business of finding fugitives and human beings, and they do unique things. And so, I mean, that's how we're thinking as well. But we use fact-based policing, and we utilize our partnerships with other agencies, state, local, and federal, and we kind of narrow in where we need to be looking, and for the most part, we're pretty successful most of the time.
Is this search in that area wrapped up? Is anyone going back up to that site at all?
At this point, no. We're going to shut it down for the night, but if something changes, then we'll be right back to it. And then we're on to the next case. And if there's another case in the mountains, I'm pretty confident Border Patrol will be with us, and we'll be back at it with the state police and specifically the Spokane County Sheriff's Department as well.
Based on the evidence found there, if it is Travis Decker's remains, did it look like someone had been camping there a while or someone on the move?
Ma'am, I don't really have the answer to that specific question.
Can you tell me a little bit about what, say, the next few days looks like for you? Is this something that's going to be more searching, more field work, or is this just now waiting for that DNA evidence?
I think it's a lot of waiting.
How does that feel?
You want to be, again, you want that 100% confidence in what we're doing, and in the situation because of DNA we can get there. But I think we'll be looking at our phones, but moving on with the rest of our weekends and traveling back to wherever we're from.
Can you tell me a little bit about the condition of those bones and those pieces that you found? Were they gnawed by animals? Is that something that seemingly disturbed up there?
Ma'am, I really don't know the answer to that, nor would I be an expert on that matter. Fugitives I can help with, but anthropology I'm a little limited.
Can you say whether a firearm was discovered with Mr. Decker?
I do not believe there was.
Any hint of foul play there, just based on an initial look at the scene?
Again, as an experienced fugitive investigator, I'd leave that to the homicide investigators and the very qualified Chelan County team. So I'm not in a position to really feel that one.
This is obviously hit close to home for a lot of people. Wenatchee is a very small community, so Chelan County. Any message you have in terms of the importance of closing a case like this?
Well, I think everybody wants this closure across the community, and I mean, it's national level attention. We all want closure on this case, but so we're really hoping we get across, to keep using the analogy, to get across the goal line and be done with this. But, for the Marshal Service and every member of law enforcement from here, we just move on to the next violent fugitive. And that's unfortunate, but that's the reality.
Sheriff Morrison, if I could ask you a question. You guys are from here, you live
tons
here.
and tons of
Your guys
cases
have been
that
part
gotta
of this
be
since day one.
fucking
Kind of the same question for you.
right, solved
you
and
met with the family. You guys
filled.
know these people. How does it feel knowing you're so close to 3.5 months of just anxiety, maybe coming to an end?
We understand the work's not done. We're still in the midst of a homicide investigation. And as you asked too, if something were to happen to Travis that was not natural or of his own cause, we're going to investigate it as a homicide investigation. We owe that to his family. We owe that to him. He's still a human being. He was a brother. He was a son. He was a family member. So again, I find his acts to be heinous and what he's alleged to have conducted and done. But overall, still going to treat him with respect. I said this throughout the process. We didn't want any harm to come to him, and we'll still treat his remains with the kind of respect that anyone would deserve. So we'll look into it, but we understand this is one step closer, as we said, to serving justice and ensuring that the law was issued. So we want to make sure this is closed out properly. We want to make sure the family has the closure. I want Whitney to sleep better at night. I want her family to sleep better at night. I want the community to know.
Yeah, this is insane. How the
no matter
fuck did he
how
get
challenging the task is.
mutilated?
We understand this was not
Because-
easy. We get the community's frustration. We get our citizens' frustration.
Right,
Overall,
because
we love
he
the fact
was
it's done in
on
3
the
days.
run
Absolutely.
because
It
he
saves us
did
a lot of
some
resources.
right. He
But it wasn't for lack
murdered
of
some
trying, It wasn't
people,
for lack of resources.
and
We
then
brought
now
in
he
some
got
of the best minds
fucking
in the country,
murdered.
from the
Right? It's
FBI,
like,
U.S. Marshal
whoa,
Service,
what the
U.S.
fuck
Forest Service,
happened?
even the U.S. Army's Criminal Investigation Division. We brought in experts in that field. We did everything. We talked with each other. We met afterwards, debriefed to make sure that we didn't make any mistakes, and continued to do everything possible. We understood this could be a criminal case that was going to trial. We didn't want any chance that this would be defeated when we went to trial. And again, I think we're close to the goal we wanted, but we're not going to rush. We're not going to pat ourselves in the back yet. We're not going to say congratulations until we get the results back and we know 100%. This is Travis Decker. That is our suspect. That is our only suspect. That is the only evidence that we have shows that he's our suspect. So just to confirm, that is who we were looking for. That's who I believe we found, and we hope the Washington State Patrol can confirm that soon.
One last
Do you have a
question.
timeline on that, right? Not tomorrow, not tonight. It could be anytime.
Nope. Again, I'm not going to put pressure on Washington State Patrol's crime lab. I want them to take their time. I want them to make sure those results are 100% confirmed. Again, this is closing out a very significant case in our county's history. This was the largest manhunt in Chelan County history. This is the most heinous homicide in Chelan County history, and we need to make sure it's closed properly and that we make sure that we're convincing our community that we did the right thing, we have the right subject, and there is no other person out there.
And one last question for me. I don't know if it's for you or Gavin. I saw in the press release that there was a key fob that was found. If one of you could talk a little bit about that. I believe it was found in the river.
Correct. Yeah, so we had a follow-up, and we really appreciate Sheriff Knowles and Spokane County Sheriff's Office for not only bringing their helicopter out here with their air support unit, but also bringing members of their dive team, and they were able to get into spots that National Park Service and our Chelan County Sheriff's Office Swiftwater Rescue Team were not able to get into, since there are spots you'd have to get underneath debris, and they were able to find a key fob in close proximity to our scene, which was great. I mean, it's an additional piece of evidence. We've collected it, we've put it in our evidence room, and it's been logged, but again, that's what it shows for cooperation and teamwork and just bringing additional resources that we didn't have. So we do not have a dive team here at Chelan County Sheriff's Office. Historically, we did, but again, appreciation to Sheriff Knowles and his team for coming in and assisting us
So
further.
it was basically a small
All right, appreciate everybody.
Thank you,
device.
Sheriff.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Yeah, it's interesting to find that in the river.
Live from Fox
And
13,
then you have this.
this is breaking news.
We begin tonight with breaking news and a story that we've been covering for months. Authorities in Chelan County believe they found the remains of Travis Decker. He's accused of kidnapping, then murdering his 3 young daughters,
Correct.
Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia, earlier this summer.
Yeah, this
According
guy.
to the sheriff's office, the human remains were located in a remote wooded area south of the town of Leavenworth. While positive identification has not yet been confirmed, preliminary findings suggest the remains belong to Travis Decker. I just finished speaking with Sheriff Mike Morrison. Here is that full interview.
Oh, it is
Chelan
him.
County Sheriff Mike Morrison joining me now. Thank you, Sheriff, for taking the time to give us the latest on this case. And I think there are many questions that we have right now. Specifically, what led you to this area where those remains were found? How far is this from the Rock Island campground?
Well, as we mentioned before at the previous searches, we were going to continue to do what we needed to do. Last week we had Washington State Patrol and our detectives out. This week we had the U.S. Marshals Service, FBI, Border Patrol, our detectives continuing to do searches as we promised we would until we find Travis Decker.
You mentioned that this was an area south of Leavenworth. Had this area not been searched before, I think the last time you and I spoke, you talked about there potentially being another search, a 4th search happening and scheduled for this month. Was this part of that already planned search when you guys found these remains?
This was.
Can you share a little bit about what the state of the remains is? Given the condition of those remains, can you tell how long Travis Decker was on the run?
We had severe decomposition. We also had spread of the remains, which is consistent with animals getting into it, which we figured we would find if we were at this point of the search.
I think I want to ask you again, where exactly and how far were the remains found from the Rock Island campground, specifically where the bodies of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia were found?
Yeah, and I apologize. My connection's not the greatest, but we're about 0.74 miles away from the initial crime scene, around an elevation of about 4,000 feet. So it was still outside of the initial 3 search areas that we conducted earlier throughout the summer, and this was just an expansion of the search area.
So this was not part of the first initial 3 searches that you conducted with the U.S. Marshals and again with the FBI?
Correct. This was just an expansion. Initially, we did the first one with Washington State Patrol's crime lab and also with our detectives. The second one was with the U.S. Marshals Service, some volunteers, and some of our Forest Service deputies, along with other volunteers. And then our final one was with the FBI and, of course, the U.S. Army's intelligence agency.
Some of the information that you guys have already been sharing online is that preliminary information leads you to believe that this is, in fact, Travis Decker. What is the certainty of that? What indicators did you guys find?
We won't know for sure until tomorrow. I've already worked with our detectives in the Washington State Patrol's crime lab. We're going to rush some results over there. We're asking to see if we can get DNA returns by the end of tomorrow. But we do feel pretty confident that there's a high probability this is him, just based off the clothing, some of the personal items we found on scene.
Okay, well, there you go. We won't go over this whole one, but I'll leave it in the description. Yeah, this is insane. Like, he's now, right, this guy was on the run because he's the one that, right, kidnapped the kids and then killed them, and then now he's apparently dead. I was like, what the fuck? Like, fucking hell. Anyways, there you have it. Is a parent. Well, they're gonna try to figure out who it is, because they haven't ID'd the person yet. All right, here we go. What's this?
And right now at 4, we are learning more about the life of Kevin Rodriguez Zavala. We broke the news this morning on Sunrise with his picture, and now we have new breaking details. West 2 has just received the incident report from this case. Now, of course, he is the man who died after being found unconscious on a roller coaster at Epic Universe. The medical examiner says his cause of death was multiple blunt force injuries, but there's still many questions to answer this afternoon. And Nancy, we just got that report.
We
Wait,
did.
what?
I mean, just minutes before
Multiple
we came on
blunt
the air,
force
I have a
injuries?
printout of it right
And then
here.
he
And
died
West
on
2's
the
Justin
fucking
Shecker is
ride?
live in the chopper. And Justin, you have been going through this report that's giving us at least a few more new details in this case.
That's right, Nancy and Stu. Good afternoon to you both. I've been reading this incident report from here in Chopper 2, high above Epic Universe. Let's give you a live look right now at Stardust Racers. This attraction remains closed less than 48 hours into this death investigation. And here is this new information at this hour. The responding deputy arrived around 9:20 on Wednesday. When he arrived, he observed Orange County Fire Rescue and Universal Orlando Health Services performing CPR on the man later identified as Kevin Rodriguez Zavala. We also learned from this report that his girlfriend was there with Mr. Rodriguez Zavala on the ride at the time of his tragic death. The report also states that Zavala had a pre-existing spinal injury and he was taking some type of medication that has been blacked out as one of the redactions in this report. The report also states the girlfriend was visibly shaken and stated she was having panic attacks and she was unable to write a statement herself about what happened. Again, these are all new details coming into the West 2 newsroom moments before we went on the air. At the same time, we're also learning more about the man who lost his life, what the medical examiner is calling an accident.
Yeah, he probably took medication.
32-year-old Kevin Rodriguez Zavala's family
went
says
on the ride,
he was a beloved son, brother,
had
uncle,
like
and
a
friend.
fucking
His family writes,
panic
he was the kind of person who always
of
made time to listen, offer thoughtful
cardiac
advice,
arrest.
and lift
he went
others
into
up,
seizure
even when he
mode
was facing challenges
on
of his
the
own.
ride. Oh, man,
These family photos show Kevin at Epic Universe's Super Nintendo World and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disney's Hollywood Studios. You can see in the family photos he used a wheelchair. His family writes, despite the restrictions and obstacles he encountered throughout his life, Kevin met them all with grace, strength, and an unwavering spirit. He overcame so much, and he did so with quiet resilience and humility. The Orange Osceola medical examiner says his death after riding the Stardust Racers Wednesday night has been ruled an accident, caused by multiple blunt impact injuries. The Orange County Sheriff's Office says off-duty deputies found him unresponsive after the roller coaster stopped. Dr. Rajiv Ball is an emergency medicine physician in Central Florida.
One of the biggest questions that we don't know at this time is what happened first, the unresponsive nature or if the blunt trauma caused him to be unresponsive. And that's going to be a little bit harder for the medical examiners to really determine.
Yeah. By Friday afternoon, Kevin's family had already raised well over $10,000 for their unexpected funeral and memorial expenses. The family writes, his presence lit up every room and his absence leaves a space
just
no
a
one
fucking
can fill.
freak accident.
And back here live, we are flying high above Epic Universe. And moments before we came on the air, the Orange County Sheriff's Office released the incident report from this death investigation. We know from this report that Kevin Rodriguez Zavala was taken to
this is
Orlando
why
Regional
roller
Medical
coaster.
Center,
I'm
where
not
sadly he was
good with
pronounced
roller
dead a little after
coaster.
10 o'clock on Wednesday. Again, we've learned from this report that his girlfriend of approximately 10 years was with him when this tragic incident happened on the Stardust Racers roller coaster. You can see at this hour the roller coaster remains closed less than 48 hours into this investigation.
I mean, it's
but again, as
obviously
we've seen from that
super rare
fundraiser,
for people
there's been such an
to
outpouring of support to support this
fucking
family
get God on
that is
roller
going through this
coasters,
tragedy
but
after
even
this
then,
death
man, it's
here at
still.
Epic Universe. Covering Orange County Live in
Oof.
Chopper 2, I'm Justin Shecker, WESH 2 News.
And then we got Christian genocide in Nigeria. Oof.
The genocide against Christians in Nigeria has escalated with yet another gruesome killing spree,
CBN News.
this time in the Christian-majority southern Kaduna area. Truth Nigeria's Mike
Sorry,
Ode
it's
James
gonna get a little
joins us
gruesome.
now. Mike, what can you tell us?
Thanks, Raj, for having me. These killings happened 3 nights ago in a village called Waki village. and it is located in the southern part of Kaduna State, which is also part of the Middle Belt. And on Sunday night, about 10 o'clock, Fulani militants stormed the village of Wake and started shooting sporadically into the village. And they killed about 7 persons there were killed. And when the next village of Gidana Daji heard the gunshot, they decided to mobilize their
So
local
warlords
security
going into these
and
villages
see
and
if they
shooting
could
them
help
up.
out the people of Waki. As the youth from Gidana Daji were going to Waki village to see if they could help out, they were ambushed by the same Fulani headsmen, Fulani terrorists, and 2 of them were killed, bringing the number to about 9. So right now we have about 9 people killed and about 5 were critically injured. I learned
Oh,
one
they're
also
saying
died,
it's a
but I
terroristic
cannot confirm
attack,
that. And
right?
the rest were taken to the hospital. A car was burnt and some houses were burnt. Now you will ask again, who are the perpetrators? Of course, they are Fulani militants. That is what we were told because I was at Kachia yesterday, and what my people sources told me, they said they were shouting Allahu Akbar, we will exterminate
Oh
you.
no! Oh no! Not the Allah Akbar, dude. There's the
This infidel,
dude.
that means Allah is great. We are going to wipe you off the face of the earth.
Oh
And
no!
for now,
Well,
that is
it
how
looks
it
like
is.
they're in South
The
Africa
village of
now.
Wake is in mourning. The people of Gidanadaje too, they
You
are
got
not. They are
some,
mourning because they lost 2 young warriors who went to
you got
rescue or
some.
help out
I don't.
their
Can you even call them
neighbors.
Islamic?
So right
Well, you
now we
got
are
some
having a
Muslim
terrible situation.
terrorists.
And
It's
So,
sounding
Mike,
like.
what would you say to people who, again, say that this is just tribal herdsmen, this is land disputes, this isn't a religious conflict?
no, this is not land dispute. Now again, this person, when I was speaking to
Well,
the locals
I mean,
and the
from what
tribal
this
chief,
person is
they
saying,
said the Fulani sent
right?
them an
Just given
emissary,
his
told
account,
them that look, come, we want to discuss with you. We want in Hausa they call
right?
it
He said
sulhu.
Allah
That
Akbar,
is
right?
you
And
come, you
the
negotiate, you
only
give us
people
your
who
land,
fucking say
we'll have
that shit
access
is
to your
Middle
land,
Eastern
we have
countries,
access to your farmland, we have
Muslim,
access to your
Islam,
rivers, we have access to
Islamic
your
people,
streams, your wives, and
right?
then there will be peace. That is not peace. That is actually a takeover of their land.
That
And as
region.
the people refused, then they started kidnapping,
So
then they
they
launched this
must have
attack. So
imparted
what we're having is not land dispute.
their
When you
knowledge
say
and
land dispute,
ideology
it is
over in
when
South
probably
Africa
2 tribes are quarreling
or
over a
Africa.
land. Maybe one tribe encroaches into the other land, but that is not it. We have a situation whereby some Fulani ethnic, militia, Fulani ethnic
What was
militia, and I'm
Nigeria
not saying all
exactly?
the Fulanis.
Is it northern
We have
Africa, right?
Fulanis that are armed and that are bent on appropriating or seizing lands that do not belong to them, and then imposing their culture, imposing their religion on people who are not Fulanis. That is what is happening. And when they do
People who
that,
are
they
not
kill. You
Funis.
understand? It's not
So
a land
there
dispute.
you go.
When you're talking
So
about
they
land
want
dispute,
to
these people come
religiously
with
convert
AK-49
people
in the
forcibly.
night,
Not only
and
that,
the
but they
villagers are
basically
asleep.
want to do some kind of like
The people
human
doing the
trafficking.
attacks are Muslims, and the people being killed are Christians. So you don't have land dispute here. What we have is land grabbing, ethnic cleansing, and
So it's
religious
basically the Muslims
imposition.
versus the
Well,
Christians.
Mike,
And the
maybe in
Muslims
closing,
are
you and
on
I
the
tragically do
aggressives,
a story
right?
like
Or
this. It
the
seems like every
agitators,
couple
it
weeks,
looks
and if
like.
it's not you, it's one of your colleagues at Truth Nigeria. And it's not, a fight or something like that. It's always a massacre. It's people being cut up with machetes. The photos that you send are just absolutely barbaric. Why is no one doing anything about this? People
Okay,
ask
yeah,
me at CPN to do something.
northern
I'm just here
Africa.
in San Diego, but there seems to be no government pushback, no United Nations pushback. It just seems like this just keeps
Well, I
happening and
mean,
no one does
Nigeria
anything.
has
Why
been
is no one doing anything?
Nigeria has been
Raj,
having it,
and I'm going to tell
and
you, the
literally that
only
whole area has
organization
been having an
that
issue.
does this, that helps to enlighten people, is equipping the persecuted, led by George Saul, and then Christian Broadcasting Network, that is your organization, and thanks to them. Now, the government media and other conventional media wants to be politically correct. They don't want to say
Oh shit.
Fulani ethnic
I,
militia are attacking Nigeria or Nigerian
oh my god,
Christians.
he dropped the
They
fucking
don't want to say
politically correct
The Fulani
fucking term.
terrorists are killing,
Jeez.
ethnic
See, he
nationalities
even knows
that
about
are
this
not
shit that's
Fulanis.
happening.
They don't want to say there is land grabbing. But the fact is, many villages have been taken over by these terrorists. The government will want to tell you that it is fueled by
Right,
climate
I think,
change. No, we don't
as
see
you can
that.
see, I think
Climate
people are
change
done
is
with the whole
maybe as a result
political
of
correctness
desertification.
that's
We
been
don't see
going on around the
desertification, and
world recently.
there are antidotes,
Ay, ay, ay.
panaceas to this climate change. You do ranching, you do air dams, irrigation farming. The government have all these
I mean,
antidotes, but this
right, this is
tribe,
why I would consider, right, this guy's saying here, I would consider, right, Israel, right, if you want to go all about, oh, Israel's bad and all that, oh, Israel's causing the ethnic cleansing, they're the ones who want to push out the Palestinians or the Hamas, whatever. Sure. Right. But
the
to say that
Fulanis
it's a
are moving
genocide,
down
I mean,
to
you could
the
say it's a
areas where
genocide. Well,
Christians
this is a
are
religious
domiciled,
genocide of,
and they are taking over their
right?
lands.
Genocide is
And when
very
they take over the
particular,
land,
right?
they don't bring in cattle. They bring in their women and men to occupy this land and then rename the land. So it is land grabbing. You understand? Now, again, only Truth Nigeria is doing the accurate reporting, only equipping the persecuted, an American organization owned by Mr. George Saul and Christian Broadcasting Network that is, saying the right thing, that is writing and reporting. They don't. We have been, even have been blacklisted. I'm sure my colleague
Oh
Masara
yeah, if
Hakim
you
has
want to
been
say
threatened,
genocide,
have been
how about
called. They say, why are
Americans?
you
Right?
people,
Yeah.
you don't have to say
The
it is
Democrats
Fulani
want to
ethnic.
cause a
And we
genocide.
ask, who
God
are the
damn.
people doing the
I'm
killings?
sorry.
Is it the
I'm being a
Americans?
piece of
Is it the
shit.
Syrians?
Yeah.
Or is it the people from Nigeria? It's not. It's the Fulanis, and they're not hiding it. They are showing it on TikTok, they are showing it on Twitter, and they are sending warning messages that we are going to kill. And the only thing is why the Americans are not getting to understand is because the Nigerian government is not allowing the media to say the right thing, say the truth. And that is why you guys, equipping the persecuted, Christian Broadcasting Network, you are doing great. Now, what you can do is
So
every time you keep
basic.
amplifying this, the American government will
So
get to listen,
basically, he's
they'll get to
saying that
understand,
there's
and then something will be done.
basically
But I
news
hope
media
you have
outlets
been
who
very
don't want
positive.
to share
Amen.
these
Amen. Well, Mike, I
stories.
appreciate your time, my friend, and God bless.
Thank you so much, my friend. God bless.
Right. You don't, right? You don't hear, right, the legacy media talking about these kinds of stories, right? Interesting, right? Yeah, obviously you see more local domesticated news stuff, but yeah. I mean, well, CNN kind of goes right world news a bit sometimes, but they kind of do a piss poor job. All right. I hate to say it, but yeah, some of these news outlets kind of do a piss poor job doing like world news stuff. I mean, I get it. It's not their territories. They're not accustomed to everything, so they have to ask a lot of questions and shit. Right? They're not comfortable in those areas. Yes. Anyways, there you have it. I will leave everything in the description like usual. Right.